Did you marvel at the heart-pounding cat and mouse game of strategy in the Promised Neverland Season 1? Did you wait with bated breath as the precocious children of Gracefield House slowly developed their escape strategy over the course of the season and built up to a satisfying payoff? Were you amazed as the wide cast of kids used their unique talents to play important roles that no one else could fulfill? If you answered yes to those questions, then you're going to absolutely hate Season 2, because it doesn't have any of that. The Promised Neverland Season 2 is a disaster, and even though I've seen plenty of great anime crash and burn in the end, it still is painful every time. Nearly all of the season's problems lie in the writing, though, and that's what happens when you're told you have to bring a story that's still in its early stages to completion in just 11 episodes, when there's actually multiple seasons worth of content left. To their credit, the animators at Cloverworks are doing their best to carry the adaptation. It's certainly not their fault. Just look at the impeccable work the studio is doing on Horimiya and Wonder Egg Priority this season. The Promised Neverland Season 2 looks nice for the most part, and it has a talented cast of voice actors who truly give their all to the performance. Even the best animation and acting in the world couldn't make up for a script this bad, though. In fact, it feels like it's written by a completely different writer's room than the first season. There are 5 main reasons why Season 2 fails compared to Season 1. Number 1, it lacks the mind games and suspense that we've become used to. Number 2, there's a Deus Ex Machina almost every episode. Number 3, characters either make incredibly stupid decisions or they're smart beyond the realm of possibility. Number 4, this show wastes a ton of space, showing way too much of mundane things and glossing over the interesting ones. And number 5, characters other than the leads have virtually no impact. Just a word of caution before I get into the details, this video will contain spoilers for events in both seasons of The Promised Neverland. The first and most glaring thing that makes The Promised Neverland Season 2 disappointing compared to Season 1 is that there are no mind games. During the first season, the cast of genius kids pitted their wits against equally conniving adults. Emma, Ray, and Norman would enact a plan only for Isabella to expertly foil it, only to have the kids pull an Uno reverse card and reveal that they were one step ahead all along. They were even willing to go to absolutely brutal lengths to achieve their goals, like Isabella breaking Emma's leg to prevent Norman's escape and delay her plans, and Emma cutting off her ear to trick the tracking device. This style of secretive mind games is what made the first season so suspenseful. You never knew exactly how much Isabella knew of the kids' plans, and the fact that we hardly ever saw demons made the possibility of one eventually showing up terrifying. In contrast, Season 2 immediately destroyed that carefully built-up suspense by opening with the kids running away almost comically from a gigantic feral demon. Though we do flash back to before that happened later on, it would have been far more effective if we got the thrilling build-up to the kids' first wild demon up front. Instead, we got plopped into an action scene for no reason other than to have a flashy opener. To be clear, I'm not against moving the show to a more action or survival-oriented angle, as that's pretty necessary given the nature of the outside world. What upsets me is that in addition to the lack of suspense, the kids don't apply any of their strategies from Season 1 to the action scenes. I expected them to come up with some genius strategy to defeat the feral demon, but all that happens is Ray distracts it for a moment and then gets caught by intelligent demons before being saved by an outside party. That's a recurring problem throughout the entire season. Threats show up out of the blue with no build-up and are dispatched just as quickly with little to no effort. And problems are almost never solved by strategic thinking. That provides a good segue to my second point, which is the fact that Deus Ex Machinas are absolutely everywhere in The Promised Neverland Season 2. The kids are being chased by a feral demon, they're saved entirely by demons who don't kill humans. They're being hunted by a SWAT team from the farms, a giant demon shows up out of nowhere and kills all the humans but doesn't get any of the kids before being shot by Ray. They get discovered by demons in the demon town, Norman and his new crew pop in and kill them. And that's not to mention that Norman has a potion that can degenerate every demon in the world. This is such a stark contrast from Season 1, where every victory felt earned because the children achieved it themselves through sheer brain power and hard work. For example, Ray used his position as the spy to get gifts he could use to craft into escape tools, and Emma and Norman forged an agreement with Sister Crone, who was originally brought in to make things harder for them. That leads me to my third point, which is that character intelligence levels are just all over the place this season. In Season 1, Emma, Ray, and Norman are all geniuses and are able to outwit adults. In Season 2, they do laughably dumb things. Ray carves the actual location of the safe house on a tree, even though Emma already has the pen that explains it. He also volunteers to be one of the people who test whether an unfamiliar fish creature is poisonous, and 3 people test it instead of 1. On the other end of the spectrum, in Season 1, all of the kids' actions, though brilliant, were still within the realm of possibility. Using existing materials to build zip lines, finding tracking devices, and figuring out that books have Morse code in them are all reasonable for kids with genius-level intellect. You know what's not? Norman completely destroying an experimental facility after single-handedly becoming a biochemist and developing a compound that can degenerate all demons. And that's a good place to move into my 4th point, which is that this show wastes so much space. Yes, Norman's escape, drug development, and rise to leader of a group of demon-killing kids is unrealistic, but it's also infinitely more interesting than anything that's happened to Emma and the rest of the kids during Season 2, yet we've seen none of it so far. We got to listen to a bunch of exposition dumps after a 1-year time skip, when the story would have been so much better told through flashbacks. We got two fish-catching scenes, and multiple episodes of kids being taught how to hunt and survive, yet no time dedicated to Norman's escape. We spent 3 episodes traveling to the safe house, which looked like it could be a really interesting arc, only for it to be raided halfway through the next episode. Even at the safe house, time got wasted on stuff like the scary room with "help" written on the walls that turned out to be absolutely nothing, never mentioned again, and only explained by a 2-second shot of a journal. We also had a copy and paste scene from Season 1 of Norman being taken away, where we could have seen what he sees in the side room, yet there's no new footage at all. Perhaps most insultingly, we got a special recap episode that didn't even attempt to add any new footage, just some voiceover, which made it clear that it was just slapped together last second to make more time to work on other episodes. All it did was remind me of how great Season 1 was. The last big complaint I have with the Promised Neverland Season 2 is that characters have very little agency or impact compared to Season 1. In the first season, all of the kids used their unique talents to help make the escape happen, and people like Dawn and Gilda stepped up to contribute almost as much as the main trio. In Season 2, Ray, Emma, and Norman are really the only ones who do anything, while everyone else just tags along. Pretty much the most helpful thing anyone else does is figure out how to catch the slippery fish creatures. Instead of the kids' actions directly driving the plot, they merely react to the dangers that happen to them that railroad them at a breakneck pace toward the show's ending. Another character problem in the show is that there's no clear villain. There are feral demons, humans with guns, and demons with swords from the farm, and regular demons who are just hungry. But there's no centralized threat, no one for the kids to match wits against and overcome. I had some brief hope at the end of episode 4 when Isabella was brought back and tasked with catching the kids. I thought, yes, here's where the mind games will pick up with her hunting them down. Well, 3 episodes later, she hasn't shown up a single time. And the only working portal to the human realm just so happens to be at Gracefield House, even though there are many farms and other facilities and there's no logical reason for it to be there. That means we likely won't get to see Isabella hunting down the kids in the outside world, and she'll just end up trying to catch them at Gracefield House. Another wasted character opportunity is the fact that the mysterious Mr. Minerva, who's been helping the kids all along, is dead off screen, and so is everybody else who worked with him, according to Norman, so that was even more build-up for no payoff. There's so much more I could say, but overall I'm just disappointed that such a promising series has gone down this path. There are some things to like, including the art, the voice acting, and a few plot elements like Sonju and Mujika, as well as the clashing ideals of Emma and Norman. However, the bad writing in this season far outweighs the good elements. I'll keep watching until the end though, and I hope the remaining 4 episodes will be able to bring about at least a semi-decent conclusion, though I'm doubtful it will. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it will help me out a lot as I grow the channel. I'm Matrix from Matrix A&M, Anime and More, and I hope you have a great day.